Hi, I'm
Hi,
Robert Jessup.
I'm Lance
I'm
Letscher.
talking with I'm talking with Lance Lesher. How you doing, Lance?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Okay, we're going to talk about this new body of work. Um, the exhibition titled "A Bird Flew In Through My Window." Now, it seems to me, looking at this, that this is a departure from the last show I remember at Conduit that was filled with mechanical forms and tracks and cranes and all kinds of hard things, big ships and rocket ships. And now this show, I looked at it, it was just like so obvious that all of a sudden it's about nature or organic forms. So could you talk a little bit about like this new body of work, and am I correct that it's really about sort of nature resurgent?
Yeah, but it wasn't a conscious decision to go that way. I mean, it's probably the same with you. It, um, well, maybe it's more this way with me because I'm driven by the materials that I have.
Yeah.
But um, somebody, I got a criticism online. Um, Somebody said, "Too bad he can't paint or draw the objects that he uses in his collages." And
Somebody really said that? You're
yeah,
kidding.
somebody said that. And I could paint or draw them, it would take 5 years, to do one collage, but it just got under my skin. And so the main thing that I think is going on with the new work that's different from the older work is there's a more painterly quality to it. There's a lot of the illustrations are taken from paintings, out of books or out of Walter Foster How to Paint books. Um, so as far as the organic nature of the forms, I'm not sure where that came from. I don't know that.
Oh, that's really interesting, because that was my second question, was because it seems like such a consistent body of images that to me looks like it's really about almost, like I said, nature ascendant and maybe humanity descendant. And so that was a question I was wondering, but you've basically answered it. So if it started with a kernel, is that really where it began? Was that sort of challenge that you couldn't that you couldn't paint them, or what were some of the germinating first images you grabbed?
Um, Quite a few years ago, one of the hurricanes that came into the Gulf, it was Ike or Gustav, um, kind of plowed through Bolivar, the island next to Galveston.
Yeah.
And we went down there. We always rent beach cabins down there, and all the beach cabins were completely gone. Just completely gone. Hundreds and hundreds of beach cabins were completely gone. And that image stuck in my head, and I think that has influenced some of the flood imagery and some of
Uh-huh.
the water imagery. It's not political per se. I'm not trying to make a point about global warming, but
Hmm.
it's more of a sense of direction that's taken hold of me. I do a lot of, like the seashore painting. I do a
Yeah.
lot of collage. A lot of the collages have to do with water, have to do with the sea. Um, Even the Two Eyes piece has two little sections of undersea life. I'm not sure what, I don't try to overanalyze that, and I'm not sure exactly where that came from or what that's doing, or I like it. And some of it, like I said before, has to do with the materials that fall into my hands.
Hmm. So I know from the past, and especially from the movie, and you talked a lot in the movie about just this huge storehouse of books and catalogs and things you have, and you're always were looking for new things. So I'm wondering if in this last couple of years there was new sources of books or catalogs or whatever that you were looking for?
Yeah. I've been buying um, a lot of reproductions of paintings of ships to cut the water out of. I made friends with a guy in Czechoslovakia who sells pull down wall charts from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. They're used for educational purposes. You've probably seen them, that it'll show a, a sprig of wheat and then the germinating process and then the seed. And
Uh-huh.
but he's got these pull down wall charts that are uh, um, underwater scenes and waterfalls, and it's just right up my alley. So I've been buying a lot from him.
When you're talking about the sea, I did have a question about three bells, and so I was looking up what three bells meant, and I was curious. And so, in those two paintings that allude to that, is that the the passage of time on a ship's, or what's three bells?
I don't know. My grandparents' last name is Bell, and there's three remaining Bells. My mother and two uncles. So that's one aspect of it. But I was thinking of it, especially three Bells in particular. I was thinking of it um, as a sound. A painting, a collage that makes a sound.
Oh, that's interesting. Huh.
And it's kind of a mournful sound. It's a sound of loss.
Yes, and the two images that have the bells in them. There are three bells. It's like sort of there are these ruins or these big
Yeah.
columns that are there, and then of course the other one, the third bell, it looks like all the stores. That's the one where a little bit of an echo of like earlier work, where you have like the stores that are there, and it's more of the man-made kind of things, and they're all sort of jumbled together, sort of sinking into the sea. Yeah. Well, that kind of reinforces my idea, though, that there's this sense of almost a slightly dystopian sense to these works. And I was just wondering, you didn't set out to do that, but have you discovered that there's something of that in these images?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's not all that way, and I don't think that it's, like I said, I don't think it's an intentionally political statement about some world issue. It's more about my own personal life and just the way that I feel and the way
Mhm.
things are, the way things seem to me right now.
Yeah. Well, I think that this sort of view, I mean, a dystopian view about humanity versus nature isn't one that's necessarily political at any one time. I mean, that's a theme that's been looked at for years and years. Maybe expound a little bit about how you're personally feeling, and maybe what has changed, or if anything, in the last 2 years as you've been going along.
Well, things have changed a lot. The last show was very manic and anxiety driven. There was a lot of tension, and this one seems much more kind of, despite the fact that there is this dystopian aspect that you mentioned. It seems calmer, and
Oh
it
yeah,
it
yes.
seems like more at ease. And that's how I feel. I feel happier and I feel content when I'm working on my work. I don't feel restless or, you know, lonely or anything like that. I feel good working.
Well, I wish I could see these in person. Of course, these days, few of us can see anything in person. How are you doing with all of that? Just wondering, how's life with the virus treating you?
There's no change. I have a 30-second commute to my studio, and I don't have any visitors. I've never had any visitors.
Yeah.
Talk on the phone a little bit and just do my work.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, when somebody first started talking about social distancing, a friend of mine who's a painter said, "Social distancing, what's new with that? We did it all that time. It's like making art, right?" Yeah, I know. We've been the same way. Well, thanks, Lance. This is great. It's been fun talking to you about your work, and the works themselves are in Conduit, correct? At the gallery.
Yeah, they're at Conduit, and she's going to post the show on. Maybe it's up now. She said she was going to shoot for the 19th.
It's fantastic looking work. It's just a delight, and it was just a delight to open up the images and see this and see something, moving forward into something new. That's great. So thank you, Lance. And
thank you.
Fuck you. Okay.
All right.
See you later.
See ya. Thank you.